Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap Session for Friday, July the 28th, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I'm the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, please send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to during the pre-market session, then live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating in a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, so yesterday, of course, was a fairly deep, dip down into the 57. This was actually hypo 4, and I didn't think it was a high probability, as I mentioned yesterday, simply because of the fact that we were trading so close to all-time high. But we basically opened auction at a range, took out the overnight high, equalized the all-time high that was put in the Globex at 80.50, and then came back down into balance. At this point in time, we are still thinking hypo 1. And then they started rotating it up, and they were only able to one-tick yesterday's range and get to Tuesday's range, and they failed to get above it twice. And they did just get above it, but they failed to hold above it. And then I don't know what caused this. I didn't see any news, but we had a major sell-off, and it just kept on going. We were looking for that target and the close of the gap and the 69. They got the first bounce there, but they only bounced 3.25 points, and they sold all the way off down to 57. Now 57.50 was our target, because that is the 7-day or the prior microcomposite VPOC that we'd broken out of and then held for the 7 days. And then, of course, as they've been doing, the buyers stepped in on the dip, brought us up, rotated us up, basically 10 points, 10.5 points, came down, held the key line in the sand at 61.25, got a Mr. Sneaky setup, and then they rotated it up into the close, back into testing the low of the day, okay, and not able to punch through the low of the day. And then we closed at 72.25. In the Globex, we basically opened at that 72, one ticked to the 72.25 to close that small little gap on the close, and then we rotated all the way down into the 62, held the key line in the sand at the 61.25, and basically just chopping in the lower distribution and in this low volume area from the profile yesterday in the RTH session, and created a B-shaped profile. If we just step back for a minute, take a look at the earnings report. Again, tons of earnings. Amazon came out with a slight miss, but better volume, better volume, but a slight miss in the estimate. Again, so far this morning, it hasn't been bad. A couple little misses, but nothing terrible. So earnings continues to be, for the most part, pretty strong. A little bit of weakness coming in these earnings this morning, but again, most of the really big ones have already reported. We do have some after the close tonight, but not anything really to speak of. And then again, we get right back into it next week. Who do we got on Monday? I'm sorry. Why is this showing Tuesday? Hold on a second. Yeah, it's already going into next month. Why is it going into next month? I want to know July. All right, so that's July, and then, that's because, what's Monday? Yeah, let's sort by most popular. Not a lot on Monday, and then Tuesday, Shopify, Under Armour, Sprint, Pfizer. Wednesday, Groupon, SodaStream. But the big ones, it looks have already like they've already reported. Chesapeake Bay, Allergen, Yum Brands. And most of the big fangs have reported now. Taking a look at the news itself. 8:30, we had Canadian GDP came out better than expected, 0.6 versus 0.2. Advanced GDP quarter over quarter came out as a slight beat for the U.S. at 2.6 versus 2.5. Unemployment cost index came down slightly. 10 o'clock, we've got University of Michigan consumer sentiment and inflation expectations, and then we've got Cash Carey speaking. They did fail to pass the repeal. I was surprised that McCain, jumped to the other side, but he was really the vote that they needed to tie it and let Pence free the tie. So lots of stuff going to be coming out about the healthcare bill today, likely in terms of headline news. Taking a look at the macro to micro, even though we want to say, we had this big move down, the trend is not even being close to being challenged. Beautiful trend on the monthly, even on the weekly. Still intact. So far we do have a bearish week. Our week open being 69.75. We're trading below it right now, so they'll probably fight that on the open. But I'm thinking we're going to have a balancing day in the wick from yesterday. But we'll get to that in a few minutes. You can see that we do come down and we're challenging the trend on the daily. But we're not violating. We don't violate it until we get below the 2450 area. But this could be just a consolidation, and we can bounce off of this. If we do get below the 20 SMA, the target below is going to be that 30 area. That 30 area is the next gap below. We'll take a look at it, and there's a naked cross down there on the daily. Going to the intraday, you can see that we do have a start of a downward trend on the 4-hour. We have left a naked cross above us. There is one down as well. No, it got taken out already. It was this one I was probably thinking about, and that got taken out yesterday in that sell-off. Going to the 1-hour, you can see that we've had a strong trend down, but now we're fighting the trend. We're coming into an MA squeeze and possibly a change of trend, but they are challenging it right now, but failing to hold above the 20 SMA. Going to the 30-minute, they are above. There's a little bit of a possible cup and handle setting up here, but we got definitely sideways consolidation and a possible trend change. We're above the 9 and the 20. On the 15-minute, you can see same thing. We do have a naked cross here. Almost got taken out at 65. Going to the 5-minute, you can see that we're struggling to hold the 9 and the 20 on the 5-minute. There's a naked cross down here. Pay attention to that 63.50 area. So going to the structure, So this is the gap. We came down and we closed this gap right here, and we closed this gap right here, but we have not closed this gap right here, which started this whole run up when they broke out of this value area from this long time frame microcomposite and held an accepted value higher at the 4075, and then started this this trend up. So if they come back down, the bigger target, and I don't think we'll get there today, is going to be down here. In this 30 area. There's some naked crosses down here on a larger time frame, and we still have this gap to repair and come back into this balance area below. But right now, we're trading in this area right here. It's pretty thin still. The 7-day microcomposite VPOC is 69. We're below it right now. Key line still is going to be 61.25 for another move down to the 57. You can see, they failed to hold value higher. They went into price discovery. Where do they go? They go to where we accepted value before we gapped up, and right to that 57.50 area. Found our buyers and rotated us right back up into the value area. So the value area is between 75.25 and 63.50. So 63.50 becomes our over underline, and 61.25 is our key line in the sand with the target down between the 59 and 57.50. If we hold in this area, we're most likely, my highest probability in both scenarios today is to get stuck in this wick today. It was a quick move down. There's a lot of undetermined fair value in this area, and we're likely just to chop some more in this area and determine fair price and mature the distribution zone, either in this lower zone or this upper zone with 72.25 separating it. So I'm really thinking we're probably going to chop between 72.25 and 61.25, and depending on where the bias is, either take a late day probe up into the 74s or take a late day probe down into the 57s if we do get some range extension. So the overnight inventory is net short, and that's why I'm looking at that 72.50 as a over under above and a range determination, and then the 61.50 is one tick above that 61.25. So we're likely to auction inside of this area from the profile in these two distribution zones, and possibly get most of our day inside of the Globex session. So our overnight high is the 72.50. Our overnight low is the 61.50. This is going to be a over underline. I'm just going to move it slightly higher to the 73 to the closing swing high. And then we're going to have that 63 area. And I'm going to move it up slightly to the 64.75 value area. It's not really a valid value area, but I'll show you why I'm going to do it at the 64 rather than the 63 over. And then we have this start of the LVN up at 67.75 area, which the midpoint is 67. So I'm going to use 67. Move it slightly higher to the swing low right here, with the target being the naked close and the overnight high and this LVN up here. And then above us, really it's all about this all-time high at 80.50. Below us, the target below the 64.75 is going to be the 63.50. Actually, I'm going to make it 63.25. right in the middle of this little HVN. And then below the 6150, it's the 5750 target. 57 is a breakout. And a move down to the 54.25. Our weekly open is 69.75. So our weekly critical mass down with the 1 day left in the week at 57 at 20 period daily ATR of 1571 takes our weekly critical mass down here to the 54 off of the high overnight of 72.50. Our daily downside ATR is, where is our daily downside ATR? ATR up. I don't know where it is. I'll just do another one. Is down at 56.75. So basically 1 tick below yesterday's low. That is our daily downside ATR. Okay, and off of the low overnight of 61.50, our upside daily ATR is 77.25. And that's just below the naked VPOC. Notice that we left value above, that most days we're leaving the VPOC on the high side of the profile. And our weekly critical mass up is 85.50, and our weekly ATR up is 91.50, and our weekly ATR down target is 45.75. So keep an eye on the 69.75. Because this is our week open. All right, so let's get to hypotheses. We opened up at the 72. We're trading 66. Okay, we're inside of this wick right here from the prior day. So my main hypothesis today is to get stuck in this wick. And hypo 1 is going to be an open auction. Okay, in range, move up. Okay, a move towards that 72.25 area, and finding responsive sellers and rotating us down and chopping around in the 64 to 61 area for most of the day, with a late day probe down into the 57.50. Okay, if we get below the 54 anytime in the midday, okay, and we don't get right back above it, then we possibly could see a further move down. But for the most part, I think we're going to get stuck in the wick. Hypo 2 is just the opposite of that, a open auction in range, a push down to test the 61.50, maybe even pop down to the 57 again, but somewhere between 61 and 57, finding responsive buyers and rotating us back up and basically chopping, okay, around the 69 area, okay, and chopping there with possible late day probe up into the 72, possibly up into the 78. That is hypo 1 or 2. Hypo 3 is an open auction, open test drive, failure to take out the overnight low, push up into the 72 area, chop around the 72 to 69, and then push up into the 78 area and test the daily upside ATR, and then go make a new high, and then fall back into this 74 area, the 74 to 76 area. That is hypo 3. Hypo 4 is an open auction in range, a push up to close the gap, fail, and then get strong push down again, come down to the 57 area, chop around in the 57 to the 54, and then fail and come down and test this 51 with a late day probe, possibly down into the 42 area, 41, 42 area. Why? Because that's the next area, the first area that we accepted value just above this larger time frame microcomposite value area high. So that is my four main hypothesis. I'm expecting a rotational day with either a little bit of an upside bias or a rotational day with the downside bias. Breakouts, watch the breakouts above 72 and below 61 if they hold to look for a possibility of moving into hypo 3 or hypo 4. Going to take a quick look at gold. I am on the December contract of gold now. Oops. I just close it out. No. We're right back in this balance here around the 69. We're likely to see some chop here. What you want to pay attention to is any breaks above 73.50. Look for expansion up into the 75.50, maybe even the 78.90. But likely more chop here. If we don't hold above the 67, look for them to possibly come back down to the 63 today. But gold's looked like it's really found its bid and is starting to find balance in around the 69 area. Anything below 59, then look for them to go back to that 56.50, the composite from the composite VPOC from the August contract. You know, I don't think we're going to see 45 today, but again, I'm still doubting some of my data issues right now. I forgot to do a data download, but mainly my my hypothesis for gold is chop around the 69.70 area. So that's going to complete my pre-market session. As I mentioned earlier, I'm heading to the cottage today. Going to be there for through this weekend and next. And I will be doing the pre-market session and then trying to turn the room over to Marvin so that he's got control. And but I will see you each morning. Anyway, as always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.